Hi everybody, I hope you're well. Today we'll take a look at a book titled Miami in the 1980s, The Vanishing Architecture of a Paradise Lost, edited by Charlotte von Moos and published by König.
What triggered this research was a vague curiosity about the destruction of Arquitectonic's first building, the Babylon. In January 2018, the city of Miami overturned a 2016 decision by its Historic Preservation Board that designated the building as a protected architectural landmark. Unfortunately, but predictably, the impatient owner had it demolished in the summer of 2019. The book brings together a group of essays and a catalogue of selected projects of Miami's 1980s architecture, some built, some unbuilt. As its title, The Vanishing Architecture of a Paradise Lost, suggests, the book was driven by a sense of urgency about today's lack of care for such imaginative and idiosyncratic projects as the Babylon and others from that period. Contemporary challenges, above all omnipresent climate change and sea level rise, which are tackled predominantly with engineering technocracy and coupled with the predicted post-pandemic real estate boom, Miami's astonishing ignorance about its own architectural culture is only likely to intensify. It is often forgotten that the massive capital generated by and released into the economy in the 1980s from Miami's cocaine cowboys and their need for clean investments, combined with the presence of well-educated young architects emboldened by a fierce recession elsewhere in the US, made Miami, Paradise Lost, as Time magazine called the city in 1981, a fertile ground for the production of architecture that was extraordinary even on an international scale. In addition to the remarkable number of emblematic houses, condos, and office towers found in Miami, there were substantial developments in public or social infrastructure. The Metro Rail, the Metro Mover, the Miami-Dade Cultural Center, and the Bayfront Park, among others, are enthusiastic products of an era with distinctly more ambitious priorities than those of today, with strong ties to the arts and an aesthetic sometimes verging on the theme park. Exploring some of these works will hopefully assist in providing tangible reference points for the now beginning post-pandemic discussion on the role of infrastructure, a conversation that, granted its occasionally utopian verb, is extremely promising. Needless to add that this growing awareness of the relevance of these issues stands in marked contrast to the complacency of the still ubiquitous contemporary classicism, the blandly generic development modernism shaping Miami today, not to mention the many imported luxury extravagances. In the present book, I wanted to show and celebrate these works through the lens of my perspective as a European architect newly arrived in the city. The scope is to hopefully raise awareness of the considerable number of cutting-edge projects that were not only designed but effectively built in Miami, the subtropical nexus of the Americas. I hope that as an initial foray into the subject, it will inspire more and broader investigations into this body of work. Beyond the ultimate objective of preservation, naive as it may be, a melancholic mood with respect to the state of American architecture has guided this book, and I hope that through looking at the past, one might better understand the present. Some of the essays collected in this book may offer food for thought in this respect. Geographically, the research was limited to projects within Miami-Dade County, or Dade County as it was called in the 1980s. The focus thus was on Miami's 1980s architecture and infrastructure as they still stand today, or did so in the 1980s, directly impacting their urban context. Often, this work came along with alluring drawings, amazing documents of our discipline's late pre-digital days. As will become evident throughout this book, the fearless young architects who made their mark on Miami in the 1980s were conversant and personally connected with the latest architectural ideas from Europe, the United States, and South America. One could claim that these designers, notably including visionary women like Lorinda Spear and Elizabeth Pleiter-Zibek, realized projects in this pioneering city in a zestful aesthetic today entirely associated with the 1980s. In this regard, projects such as the Babylon or the Atlantis, with their heroic names, were far more than just architectural logos for the epic TV show Miami Vice, but products of a time of radical change and creativity in a city rediscovering and newly defining itself. Incomplete collection of projects from Miami in the 1980s. Spear House, Hibiscus House, the Babylon, the Palace, the Atlantis, the Square at Key Biscayne, the Imperial, the La Cruz House, Metro Rail and Metro Mover, Office Building on US 1, Southeast Financial Center, Dade County Cultural Center, Bayfront Park, Centros Tower, Miracle Center, House on a 25-foot lot, DPZ Office, Tiger Tail House, Kazif.
The book was designed by Theo Schifferli and printed in Germany by Kettler. Ask for it at your local bookstore. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.